Hey everyone, Matt Brady here, the Carolina Mortgage Coach with Success Lending, and we're behind the closing table podcast, episode 1, with Mark McClaskey of the Signature Group with EXP. So thanks everyone for listening today. Mark, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about you?
Hey, everybody. Well, thanks, Matt, for having me on here, man. This is fun. I'm already having
Yeah,
fun. We just got started.
yeah, yes, sir. Workout buddies. We work out together. I've known Mark for a while, so I figured he'd be a great first guest to get on here. Plenty of years in the industry,
Yeah.
top real estate agent in the Charlotte area, has the
Well, you got
biggest listing in the Charlotte area right now. Don't you guys have that? So
we do have a big one there, yeah. And
awesome.
I was self-nominated Realtor of the Year
There you
10 years in a row.
go. Oh man, unanimous choice.
I never
Unanimous
thought it.
choice.
Exactly. Exactly. So,
There you go. Awesome. So why don't you tell everyone you started out, you're a country boy at heart from the Midwest. How'd you end up on the East Coast and in the real estate?
well, it's a simple thing. I grew up on a cattle ranch in Kansas, never played sports. I just, wrestled cattle, fixed fence, haul hay, did all the farm stuff. And I met a girl in college. She moved me out here to the Carolinas, and then she broke up with me. And then
Okay.
I met me a Southern girl and stayed. And that's
There
basically
you
my
go.
story.
Awesome.
But no,
So
I got into real estate because I
yeah,
was in when I got off the farm. I majored at Kansas State University in broadcast journalism, so I wanted to be TV news anchor, be up, all this stuff on TV. And I
yeah.
realized they don't make any money unless you're the top dog. And I realized the
Uh-huh.
salespeople were making the money, so I said, you know what, I think I'm going to get into media sales. So I did media sales for about 10 years, and ended up here in Charlotte. And about the time of the financial crash in 2009 is when I got my real estate license. So I've never had good timing, Matt. I've had horrible timing.
Okay. But that just shows how persistent you are. You've made it through all of it, even now where some would say it's a tough in the business right now. The Signature Group seems to be, growing and expanding in
Yeah.
what many would consider a down market. So I think it just goes back to the work ethic, persistency, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Some people, I mean, sometimes I'm like, am I really that smart? Because we started a big team in the worst real estate market since the crash. But
Yeah.
hey, we're doing good, and it's just taking the principles we've learned and the experience. I mean, I've been in Charlotte now since '06, so it's been 20 years. Been licensed in real estate for 17, and yeah, we're growing a team. We kind of feel like the future of real estate is centered around teams, and I mean, if you see it, there's consolidation, corporate conglomerates
Yeah.
buying each other up. And honestly, we kind of feel like the real estate industry is going to turn into the airline industry. There used to be a ton of carriers, a ton of airlines, and now there's just three
Uh-huh.
major carriers. And it's going to be the same way with real estate. In the next 3 years, we're going to see some big changes. I think you're going to see 4 or 5 major firms, and there's just been a lot of change. So we kind of feel like the
Yeah.
future real estate centered around teams, and that's why we started the Signature Group, Marcus Dilly and I. So.
Awesome. What do you think someone that's not in the business of real estate, what do you think that's one thing they misunderstand about being a real estate agent?
I think people, in my opinion is and maybe I thought this way too. I thought realtors just drove, $150,000 cars and ate $50 salad lunches every day at the country club, and
Mhm.
it's and sell $1 million listings, making,
Yeah.
$1 million a year. And yeah, it can be that way, but it's really, really hard to get there. It's a lot of hard work, and you gotta start out and earn your way through. It's a tough business. It's a tough gig.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think the public perception is a real estate agents make a lot of money, and we can, but it's hard. What they don't teach you in real estate school is, before that open house, you're gonna be cleaning the toilet, getting it ready for getting ready for the
Yeah.
open house, blowing leaves
Yeah.
off the lawn. And then one time
Mhm.
I did an open house, and there was a 7-foot black snake on the back porch that I had to get off of there before the
Yeah. I hear a lot of stories, the setting up the house, the
Yeah,
staging of the house, the cleaning
yeah.
of the house,
Oh, yeah.
like you said, the yard work, all of it, that you're not getting an hourly wage to do that.
No,
So,
no.
and I think the same thing with the loan side is people don't realize there's no compensation if it doesn't close.
That's right.
So, you're doing all that work beforehand
Mhm.
with hoping that you're going to get to the closing table.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, in
So,
real estate, it's same with the loan process. I mean, it's tied to what they can do financially, but
yeah.
on the real estate side, it's like, you really gotta vet things out, and, there's been times that I've, wasted a year, 2 years of showing houses to the same client and then end up going
Uh-huh.
with the competition, or they just end up not
Yeah.
buying, and I'm like, "Well, I just
Hmm.
wasted 2 years of my life." But then
Yeah.
there's times where, you know, you get that buyer that comes in. In fact, I've got a client right now, and this is the 2nd time they purchased through me, and they're the only client this has ever happened to. I showed them 1 house, and each time they bought a house.
Wow.
They're my
There
new
you go.
favorite clients.
That makes up for all the other ones, So it's
Exactly.
a balancing act. You'll have the easy
Balance.
clients and the
Yep,
clients that need a little more
exactly,
work.
exactly.
So that's a good transition into, what do you like most about being in real estate, whether it's on, the buying or selling of homes? What keeps you wanting to do this?
Well, I'm a salesperson through and through, so, when you make a sale as a salesperson, you just really I don't know, I kinda get a little bit of a high from it, but at the same time, it also is it's not like selling a trinket or a pair of sunglasses or something
Yeah.
like that. You're selling the biggest financial investment people are gonna make, most people in their entire
Yeah.
lives. So, it's cool to be a part of that,
Hmm.
and see people's, big dreams and hopes come true when you can close on a house, and what's really kinda fun to see, and when you're been around the block like me a long time, I've helped several clients, buy a house, get married, start a family, graduate to
Hmm.
that next house, and then, graduate to even a bigger house. So, as the kids get
You've almost been out long enough to where you can start helping the kids then, with
exactly,
their house.
exactly. I just had a client that I've known her for 18 years, a friend of mine, and
Yeah.
I've helped her and her husband buy houses, and now she's buying a house for her daughter, for her 18-year-old
Awesome.
daughter. So that that's cool to see. And then it's also a very
Yeah.
stark reminder that I'm getting old. So there's that.
Yeah. I think that's the same thing for me is it's setting someone up for financial success,
Yeah,
because the stats are out there that
yeah,
home ownership compared to renting, if you can do it, your net worth is 40 times higher as a
yeah,
homeowner. And
yeah.
most of that's going to come from the equity and the appreciation in your home.
That's right.
So, seeing people do that, helping people make who didn't think they could buy a house, put the things together because sometimes it's a big strategy and a big puzzle putting it all together, working with you guys on getting the right seller credits, putting in the right loan program.
That's
But
right.
there's nothing better than when you see those people at the closing table and then you check in 6 months, a year, 2 years later, and you see what they've done to the home or
Yeah,
how happy they are to have something that's theirs.
exactly,
So
exactly.
awesome.
Yeah, a
So
lot of people create a lot of wealth with real estate.
oh yeah,
Uh, You know, I've got, plumbers, electricians, just different various careers that,
yeah,
do very well, but they didn't become multimillionaires just by their trade. They
yeah.
did it with the combination of real estate. Now, most financial advisors probably wouldn't wanna
Yeah.
advise to buy real estate, but
It's diversity. A portion of it is in real estate, because
exactly.
they're not making more land. So,
No,
if you can get a piece of that,
exactly.
um, and
It's not a guarantee, it's a risk like everything, but for the most
yeah,
part, you buy right with real estate, and that's why it's important to have a good, lender like yourself,
yeah,
a real estate agent that knows their local area, that knows, how to navigate that, and you make your money when you buy a piece of property, so you gotta
yeah,
buy it right. So yeah, it's a risk, but it really is, rewarding in most cases.
yeah. It's like that phrase. The best time to buy was 5 years ago. The second best time is right now. Because home prices are just going to keep going up.
I always
I
hate it when
don't
people
see.
say, "Hey, what do you think about it?" And I'm like, "Well, as a realtor, I hate saying this, but now's the best time to buy."
Yeah, yeah. It's the age old thing of everyone's waiting on rates to come down, but as rates come down, more people are going to enter the market, which means more competition, which means home prices are going to go up.
Yep,
So
yep.
I think that's a great segue into what's one mistake you see buyers make over and over, and one mistake you see sellers make over and over.
I mean, for buyers, I think the mistake I see happen, well, you know, it's an emotional buy, right? If it's your
Yeah.
primary residence, it's emotional. It's funny because nobody ever comes to me, Matt, and says, "Hey, Mark, you're a real estate agent. Can you help me buy a house so I can lose some money?"
Yeah.
They always say, "Find me a deal. I want a
Yeah.
deal. I want a good deal on a property." I mean, they never say I want to lose money, but
Mhm.
when they come to me and say I want to find a deal, it's funny because I watch them and then they get emotionally involved because it is their
Yeah.
primary reason, unless they're an investor or it's an investment,
Yeah.
right? Emotionally buying can be
Mhm.
difficult. So I see that
Yeah.
happen. It's like, oh, oh, we're going to be a hard ass. We're not gonna pay over this or that, they walk into that house and it's like, oh, this is going to be home. This is where
Yeah.
you know, you become emotional. So
Yeah.
I, I it's natural. I don't know if that's a mistake, but then on the selling side, I've been doing this 17 years. The selling side, everybody always thinks their house is worth more than it is in
Mhm.
most cases.
I think it goes back to that emotional value. You've seen your
Yes.
kids grow. There's been the best moments of your life are in those homes, and
Yes.
unfortunately, you can't. That's not a monetary value that someone else
That's right.
has to that same property. Though.
Well, and sellers are like, "Well,
Yeah.
look, I mean, this is my house. I think it's worth more than or they don't say that. They have an idea what it's worth. And just like you know, as a real estate agent, we try to advise based on the
Hmm.
comps and based on what the market conditions are, which ties to lending, which is an important
Yeah.
part why a real estate agent and a lender need to be close because
Yeah.
the market's reflecting on how the lending is and what the economy's doing. But I see sellers a lot of times, want to push that list price, and it's a competitive industry, so realtors are competing for listings. So what
Yeah.
happens? Well, I think the house is worth this, but it's really only worth this, and the realtor wants the listing, so they go, okay, we'll just list it for this and see what happens, and then I've seen the movie play out so many times. It
Yeah.
just sits on the market and then, oh, well, we got to drop the price. And then you're scrambling and then days on market add up. It's just like if you just,
Yeah.
I don't care if it was COVID. I don't care if it was the financial crash of
Hmm.
2009. I don't care if it's 2026 like we're in now and it's the worst market since 1995. It's always going to come down to pricing. It
Yeah.
has to be priced right. So that's the
Definitely.
biggest mistake sellers make. They don't price it right.
Yeah.
But I can't blame sellers because my doctor tells me not to drink so much wine, and I don't listen to my doctor. I still
Yeah.
drink. He says no more than 2 glasses of wine a night. I save all of them for Friday. I drank 14 glasses on Friday. I don't listen to my doctor. A lot of sellers don't listen to their realtors.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to how you said, you need the right team around you. Because just a few years ago, like we talked about what happens when rates go down, bidding goes through the roof.
Yep.
So if that starts happening again, what could get you into an issue then is when you're going over ass now. And
Yeah.
then it's figuring out if this not a long-term hold for you where you plan, or if life happens and now you have to make a change and now you
Yes.
paid X amount over that price,
Right.
has appreciation had enough time for you to catch up to at least you break even? So, I think that's what's important, to have a good real estate agent on your side then that can kind of project that out too. Because on the other end, if you can go over ass and win this property, it could be like, hey, we make these few changes. Now your home is worth this, even though you paid a little bit more for it, so
Sure.
definitely comes down to the team that you surround yourself with. Now,
Without a doubt.
what's something that what'd you say?
No, without a doubt. I agree 100%.
Oh yeah, awesome. So, what's something that you feel like people think's super important during either the buying or selling process, and it's not as big as a deal as people make it out to be?
It kind of varies. I'm just trying to think of something specific because it's funny because buyers will come to me and say, "This is what I want in a house," right? And
Yeah.
we joke on the other end of the industry that and this is across all industries, buyers are liars, and it's not that they're lying intentionally. It's just the buyers don't know what they don't know. They don't if they're new to the area, they don't know what the area is. They don't
Yeah.
they want. I always go back to this time. I had this client. He said he didn't like people. He wanted to be away from people. He wanted 5 acres, a big house out in the middle of nowhere with a fenced-in yard so he can play with his dogs, and he just wanted to be away from people, and that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
And he ended up buying a condo uptown. So, you know, the shift what they tell you they want versus what
Yeah.
you end up getting, it's a process. It always
Yeah.
goes through that process. You gotta get out there and look at homes. So I forgot your question, but I was trying to answer it. I think that's,
Yeah, I
people
think,
don't know.
it was
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
question
and I
again?
think what something that people, think really matters during the process,
Yeah.
which is, not a big doesn't have such a big determinant
Yeah, I
on
think
it.
a lot of times people get hung up on paying that purchase price, which we just talked about. It's important to buy it right, but I think a
Yeah,
lot of times, where a good real estate agent can help explain to a buyer is, okay, you're going to pay this much for the property, and if you're getting a mortgage, paying $10,000 more versus
yes,
$10,000 less only really
definitely
affects
agree.
your payment by what? Depending on what are we at, 6.5?
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah, I think,
$bucks a month?
e yeah, like, I think on average right now, so
Yeah.
asterisk people that we don't have specifics right now because rates can change, but let's just say, you know, every $10,000 you change your mortgage up or down might only change the payment 65 to 75 bucks, depending loan
Yeah.
type and everything you're in. So it's then breaking down that conversation of, okay, instead of, do you want to miss this house over 10,000, $20,000? It's, do you want to miss this house now over 65 to $125? When you break it down to that, it changes the perspective for
And that's
people
where
on
real estate agents have
what
to
it
ask the
is.
right questions, get to know their clients, and also, most good real estate agents are gonna have their clients or their leads get pre-approved with a lender like you,
Yeah,
right? Like, if I get a lead, I'm
yeah,
gonna say, "Hey, hey, listen, talk to Matt, talk to a couple other lenders, shop around, but these are the guys that, you need to get your financing in line." And then you find out it's communication with the lender and asking the right questions with the buyer of what makes sense. Because 'Cause I've been a big fan of these 3-2-1 buy downs and 2-1 buy downs, these last several
uh-huh,
years because those loans didn't exist pre-COVID, and it
yeah,
gets people past that rate because you can buy that rate down. The sellers are willing to negotiate right now, and those are
yeah,
just a great loan, and a lot of agents don't really. I don't know if they don't know about it or they don't use it, but those are just a great deal. So it's not necessarily just paying the price. I am not gonna pay a dime over this amount. Well, why don't you pay a little bit more and then get the financing on the back end from the seller
yeah,
to buy the rate down? I don't know. It just depends on everybody's
yeah.
situation, and everybody's situation's unique.
So let's turn this into, what's a funny story that you have that, or an unexpected real estate story that you think would be a good one for people to
Oh,
hear?
man, I've got a lot of them. Trying to think of something I could share. Um, Gosh, give me a trigger point, like,
That doesn't get you into trouble.
yeah, like on the buy side, a funny story.
Well, it could be anything. What's something that's come up in a what's something that's come up in a real estate deal to almost derail it? And then when you look back now, you're like, I can't believe that little thing really almost blew up the deal.
Well, I've seen a $700,000 house purchase before where there was a $300 wood rot repair issue, and they were about to walk away because the buyer and the sellers were not coming to terms over a $300 repair. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I've seen things like that. Um,
Okay.
but that's really not a great story. I mean, gosh, I've got so many. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. There's been some real doozies. Um, Gosh, I mean, there's
You'll have to ask Mark offline about when I first bought my house, my second house, 12 years ago. But
okay.
I don't want to get anyone in trouble with that one.
No,
But it came to a flooding issue,
yeah,
moving fish in early, and
fire.
luckily I was the buyer on the house. So,
All right, I got a story that triggered my memory. I needed that mnemonic
uh,
help right there. So just similar to that, I did another buyer possession for a client of mine. I won't name
uh-huh,
names or any locations, but this buyer that I was representing. The loan, as you can appreciate, the loan gets delayed, right? And everybody's up in
yeah,
arms, everybody's emotional. "Oh, I got the movers, I got all this." Well, you can't close on it because the loan's not ready. So it got delayed, and this was a multi-million-dollar deal, so it was jumbo.
uh-huh,
Um, and my buyer wanted to put some of their clothing and some items in the house prior to
uh-huh,
closing. And we did it. We worked out a buyer possession with the seller, and Unbeknownst to me, my buyer took a bunch of, garbage bags full of clothes. They were in a hurry to get out of the lease because they were all in these garbage bags and put them in the
Yeah.
house. Well, 10 days go by and the loan gets delayed again. The seller of the house was tired of having those bags in the house, and they drug them out to one of the garages. There was multiple garages, and they drug it out to one of the garages.
Uh-huh.
It delayed a couple more times, so a month later, we finally closed. These garbage bags full of clothing were in the garage for a month, and mice got into them and chewed chewed them up and defecated on the clothing in those bags. Well, unbeknownst to me, there was a chinchilla coat in there worth $30,000 that got tore up by the rat.
Mm.
Wasn't my fault, wasn't the seller's fault, but I spent $2,800 on dry cleaning and repairs to get those clothes back into condition, just so that everybody's happy. So see, that's the
Hey.
stuff they don't tell you in real estate school that you gotta do, even if it's not your
Yeah.
fault, to keep everybody happy. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
the chinchilla coat was, one that I use as an example in addition to
Awesome.
the fish tank story.
So let's transition to, not only do you help buyers and sellers in real estate, you and your partner Marcus are also building a big team.
Mhm.
So, what would be a piece of advice you give to new real estate agents that it's not selling Manhattan or whatever those TV shows are, right off the
Yeah,
bat? Like
yeah.
what is it really like getting started in this industry? And where do you feel what makes someone go down the road of being successful versus in 2 years they're out of the industry and doing something else?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people get into the industry and they're doing it part-time because they're maintaining that job and they try to do it
Uh-huh.
part-time and that just I would say that the fallout rate on that's probably as high as the dropout rate on, just making it in that first year in the industry. I don't know what the stats are, but it's like I want to say like 70 or 80% of the people fall out within that first year.
Yeah.
Um, I think for me, you learn from your own mistakes. And I'm not just saying this as a team lead, right? It sounds, you know, I think it's important to get the right fit, the right culture for you as a person, but getting onto a team or somewhere where there's some structure, and
Uh-huh.
uh, just good structure and coaching and training is important because I worked in corporate America a long time before I got into real estate. Now, I always used to complain,
Uh-huh.
why do we got to go to all these trainings? Why do we got to do sales trainings? We got all this corporate
Uh-huh.
training. There are always trainings. There's always these meetings. And looking back, it really was good because it helped prepare me to be a little bit more professional. And what I'm doing, I learned a lot. And I was able to take a lot of that corporate experience and training and translate it into real estate. So I kind of was able to hit the ground running, but a lot of people don't have corporate training or they, whatever their background is, you get into a team or a firm that has good structure, the
Uh-huh.
leads to provide and follow those systems. Cause I didn't do that. And I wish I would have, even with my corporate training, because I left a lot of money on the table. I didn't know what I was doing. I went to a low split brokerage. No offense to those split brokerages, but it's like you eat what you kill. And I just wasn't killing a whole
Yeah.
looking back, I dropped the ball on a lot of follow-ups with past clients, and, I think if somebody can get into the business, especially now, it is super hard. I mean, this is a hard,
Uh-huh.
hard market, and fundamentally, so many things have changed, that NAR lawsuit a few years ago and big tech controls all the lead flow, so
Yeah.
as an individual agent, it's damn near impossible to get in and buy your own leads and build your own thing right now. It's just hard. It's very, very
Uh-huh.
hard. You got Zillows, Realtor.coms, Homes.com. All of the big tech owns that space.
Yeah.
And they're trying to push that to get everybody away from clear cooperation, to get everybody away from putting things in the MLS. They want to control it, right?
Uh-huh.
And so there's a bunch of battling going on right now. I don't know if that's really what we were supposed
Yeah.
to talk about, but that's a big picture. So if you're a new real estate agent, getting on a team and getting into a firm that's financially strong and can survive what's going to happen in the next 3 years is very important, in my opinion.
Now, are you guys when you're doing your recruiting or you're looking at new people coming on, do you prefer newer people that have you can be molded in the Signature Group way, or do you prefer the veteran coming over that, has their way of doing business as long as they're open to a new way of doing business. Like
Yeah.
how, how do you straddle that line, or what do you guys go after in that sense?
That's a tough call, because I mean, it takes all types, right? And
Yeah.
it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, right? With some of these veteran agents, and a lot of veteran agents, but we're getting calls from veteran agents that have been doing
Uh-huh.
this for 30 years, and they're like, "We can't get leads. We need to get on a team." And I'm like, "You've been in this business for 30 years." So that just goes back to show us. But I think it's a fine line. I mean, we've hired brand new agents that we didn't think would do well, and they killed it, right? They
Uh-huh.
just took it and ran with it, and their careers are soaring. We brought over veteran agents that we thought, "Man, they're gonna kill it because they've been around," and they just totally fail. So you just never really know, but I think it's very important for both the realtor and the team, if you're looking at a team or a
Yeah.
firm, is about the culture, right? Is it the right
Yeah.
fit for you, your personality? And that's really a big thing. I never really understood, oh, the culture thing until I till I started a team, and I'm like, "Okay, I get it now. This
Okay.
culture is a big deal." So
Yeah.
I think you gotta have a good mix. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina, and, South Carolina's right here, so we're a dual state kinda situation here, and I think it takes a little bit of all types. A little bit of new agents, seasoned agents, and those in the middle. That's what makes up a team. All the different.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's a hard answer, hard
Well, I
question.
can I can vouch for them. I was on their team training last week, so they have a lot of good things going on there.
Okay.
Now, if someone wanted to reach out to you, so first off, on the buying and selling side, what's the best way to get in contact with you? And then, if someone listening to this is looking for, a new opportunity or changing their current situation and open to a change, where should someone reach out to you on that side?
Well, if they're somehow I lost you off my screen here. There we go. So so if you're looking to buy or sell, go on to you can go on to our website. If you're looking to join a team, if you're looking to get onto a team or want to see what our team's about, we got jointhepros.vip. That's our website. You can kind of go through there and see everything that we offer and kind of check out what we have. But um, we work off a lot of referrals, Matt. So really word
Uh-huh.
of mouth is how we've built this team, and we're very thankful. Teams, we got to do a lot of recruiting, but we've had so many people referring people over to us. It's been really nice. And that's how we build our business too, is just, you know, get out there and network and ask for the referral. I mean, anywhere you go, dinner
Uh-huh.
conversation, cocktail conversation, everybody likes to talk about real estate. I mean, they're always, if they find out you're in real estate.
It's like the top question I get. What are the interest rates? Where do you think interest rates are gonna be?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what do you think? They find out I'm a real estate agent. What are we going to
Yeah.
head towards a crash mark, or what's going on in the
Yeah.
real estate market? Are sales up? Are they down? Are prices going up or down? So it's
Yeah.
always an easy conversation to have. And
Mhm.
it's so easy just to network. And that's the one thing I'd say for all these new agents, get out there and network and ask for the referral. So
Yeah. It's never, "How are you doing?" It's, what are the rates today?" It's like
exactly. Exactly. It's a different animal on the lending side, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So,
Well,
no,
thanks for jumping on for the first episode of Behind the Closing Table. Thanks for everyone watching. We'll be interviewing real estate agents and other people in part of the real estate field. So thanks for checking us out. And the link to get in contact with Mark for buying, selling, or joining his team will be in the caption of the show. And everyone have a great day. Thank you.
thanks, Matt.